Okay, there were a couple of things that I wanted to add to this this image that we had here with the sine wave. Okay, so we have a sine wave that has a period of from 0 to 2 pi, and the way that we express that, okay, is with an interval notation where we start at 0 and we end at 2 pi. One with the bracket, one with the parentheses. This is a streamlined instruction, so we can go into greater detail with this at a different point. But it basically has to do with the idea of we're cutting and pasting this wave end to end to end to end to end. And so we can't include 2 pi and 0 at the same time, because then we'd have overlap in those periods. But there are a couple other things I wanted to mention here. Okay, we have a maximum value at 1. We have a minimum value at -1. Okay, and in a sine wave, there's 5 points that I graphed here. These 5 points are what we call the critical points. You'll want to write this down, okay, because this is what we're going to use to graph the function. We are going to be graphing this by hand. So there's 5 critical points, and the pattern in which these critical points are supposed to occur for a sine wave are at an intercept. After the intercept, it goes to its maximum value. Then it comes back down to an intercept, then it goes to its minimum value, and it ends at its intercept. So you're going to hear me say this a lot in class: intercept max, intercept min, intercept. And understanding that that's how this graph is supposed to behave is going to make graphing these functions by hand a little bit simpler. The other thing you want to notice is about these critical points, they are spaced out evenly along the x-axis. So we said that the period starts at 0 and it ends at 2 pi. And if you look at where these critical points are, my picture's not going to be perfect because I'm using this tablet device. But if you look at where these points are, we're basically taking the length of the period and we're breaking it into 4 intervals. So I hope it's obvious from the picture that from 0 to pi over 2 is the same horizontal distance as from pi over 2 to pi. So the points that we're plotting here have the same horizontal distance between them, right? Just like along the unit circle, from 0 to pi over 2 is the same distance from pi over 2 to pi, from pi to 3 pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi. So the main idea I wanted to get across here is that there are 5 critical points along a sine wave, and those are going to be what we use as sort of our anchoring or defining values when we start to graph these by hand. So you're going to hear this many times: intercept max, intercept min, intercept, to help describe how a sine wave behaves. And those critical points are spaced out over 4 equal intervals along the x-axis. Okay.